Right. Today we'll talk about chapter 11 and talk about the use of the variables, small plot, and optimization for inventories and some supply chain control. And first we talking about our example. It's a supply chain model with a supplier and uh, sending product to the distribution center then send the product to the retail store, and the retail store actually generate demands and reorder from the distribution center, and the distribution center reorder to from the supply chain. Okay. And for example, the supplier takes a triangular distribution of 10 to 20 minutes to produce each unit, and so whatever order quantity is, that's times that much. Same thing for the manufacturing. As a per distribution with between 1 to 3 minutes per part to put it into distribution center, and times however order quantity it is. So every time the retail store place order with the distribution center is based on the Poisson distribution with the 40 units. So how do we model this? I'm going to show you the model overview. Basically, we have the source, which is the order coming from the retail store, and then there's the order processing center, and process the order, subtract whatever needed from the inventory, and ship the ordered amount to the store. Okay, so this part is independent going like order processing system, and then when the inventory is lower than a certain level, and then automatically the supplier got the message say, okay, I need to order. So there's the order coming in, and then once it's processed and send it to the distribution center finishes, send it to the inventory for the order processing center. So we're going to show you how this is going to build, and of course you took production and inventory control system class, and this is a standard SS inventory system, and the lowercase s represent the reordering point, and the capital S represent order up to level, and there is a lead time between you place the order till the order is coming. So the red line represents the actual inventory line, and the gray line represent the inventory on hand plus on order total. Um, so the problem start default value uh, for each one of the initial value for inventory. Initial value for the inventory is 700 initial inventory, and reordering point 300, and order up to level is 700 again. Review period is 5 days review per review. So here we're trying to see how we set this up and together. So here are the steps in the PowerPoint, and each one of the steps how to do this. So I'm going to follow these steps and build a model real quick for you. Okay. And when we start building, easily we're going to have a source, and have a server, has a order processing, and has a sink for now. And the source is represented by so-called source from order for that, And this is a server to processing the order. Alright, so order processing. The sync is representing once the order is processed and the order is sent to the store. Quickly, there, I'm just going to use the connector to put them together and not simulating any delay in between, and we could, and if you want, and then we putting a supply line, which is using workstation, and then the sync. And the first workstation represents the supplier, and the second workstation is representing the distribution center. Look at the workstation DC, and the last one is the sync for going to the distribution center inventory. Okay. Only thing I need to do is the first two portion is the travel time for the lead time is random distribution, uniform between 1 to 2 days. Okay, that's transportation time between the supplier to, and the other one is just virtually moving the stuff into the inventory. So I'm going to add two model entity. Okay, and the first model entity represents the order, and the second model entity represents the replenishment. Okay. I'm going to change the color a little bit for that, so you kind of distinguish what this is the order processing line, and this is the replenishment inventory processing line. Okay, for the source, actually, it have an order coming every day on the day, so one day each order coming in, and there's a quantity. So here I'm going to adding a state variable attribute for the model entity. I'm going to put it in as order amount for this attribute. It's a scalar, and there's no specific unit, it's just a number count. Then I come back to the model, and so each time I generate an order, before the exit, I'm doing a state assignment. Here I have adding the model entity, order amount equals to a Poisson distribution, as we say. Poisson distribution with a mean of 40. Okay, that's my order amount. And secondly, and this order takes about half day to process the order, and that's pretty much it. And this is the inventory part. Okay, so next thing we need to do is setting up some system parameter using property. I need to set up a system parameter for 3 of them. Actually 4, I think. So the first one is initial inventory level. Okay. The second one is the reordering point. And the third one will be the order up to level quantity. And the fourth one will be the review period. And the review and the first three are just regular quantity, so I'm going to set it as a default as the problem stated. The 700 is the initial inventory by default, and the 300 is the default reordering point, and the order up to level is again 700, and the last one is the review period. Actually, the unit is supposed to be a time and based on days. So by default is a 5-day review, and that's what we're trying to do. And also to further categorize this, and I'm going to put all of them in the category of inventory. Okay. Okay, if I don't put this and this default, the category name is general. If you go back to the model itself, you will see that the three I put in category inventory was put it in here, and one of those is called review period will be actually separate as a general. So we'll come back to put this in as an inventory category, and then we can see that now they all line up right here. I need to also set up a two system state variable, basically, and to keep track of the current inventory, call it the stay inventory level. And the other one we're going to call this stay on order. How much is on order? How many of them are on order? How many of them are actually in how many of them are on order? How many actually on hand? Basically, this guys have. So, so this is two system variables we're going to use for the time being. And maybe a couple statistic I want to set up. First, I want to set up a so-called service level, which is a tally. Service level, okay, and I'm going to show this as a regular unspecific, and the service level we defined right here is each time order come in with the quantity of random quantity following Poisson distribution with a mean 40, and actually sometimes the inventory may not have enough to fulfill the entire 40 to the quantity of the actual order. So whatever it can fill, we call the fill rate, and that's using as the so-called service level for our system. So we're using this tally to keep track. And also we need to keep track a couple other information, and we set up a so-called state statistic, basically. And these two statistics is as collecting the performance for the state variable, system state variable I I'm using. So let's see how we do that. And the first is the inventory part. I want to collect statistic. The other part is what I'm trying to do is collect what is the on order portion, and both of them are regular so-called state statistic. I'm just going to quickly for analyze result. I'm going to use those as inventory level. Okay, and I'm sorry, and this is just a number. This is on order amount, and also this part I'm going to just say this is if I oops sorry, this is called on hand. All right, just going to add one more thing called timer, and this is a time review. How often we need to review our inventory, and so the timer review is basically how often we want to review this. So here is fairly simple. I already have a review period set up called review period. Okay, I'm going to do review period as well. All right, so these two are set up for the review period. Again, we check this processing time. Oops, sorry, I have it wrong right here. It should be 0.5 days as processing time, not transfer time. So, all right, here what we do is for the supplier itself, it will take about 10 to 30 minutes, follow a triangular distribution. So here we just modify this real quick. It's 10, 20, and 30 minutes, okay, each time. And a quantity process is basically the model entity and order amount, whatever order amount coming in from here, okay. And each time I'm processing one quantity at a time. So this is how we set it up for the original processing time mass. This is, we're talking about 10 to 20 10 to 20 minutes. Let's do this real quick. 15 to 20 minutes. Sorry. Same thing for the work distribution center. Same thing for the distribution center. It's per distribution from 1 to 5 minutes. Each time I process one as well. So I'm going to do the same thing. The processing quantity is basically model entity, order amount, and process one at a time. And processing time is random per distribution and based on 1, 2, and 5 minutes per order. And this pretty much finished the entire model on the outset. And now we're going to go in to talk about some, do some detailed modeling, because each time the process is coming in and we need to actually changing the inventory status. Okay, so in every time the process come in, I need to every time the inventory a simulation starter, I need to set the initial inventory to the current status of the inventory. I'm going to start a process right here called run initialize. All I have to do is fairly simple. Um, Setting up the state, uh, state variable inventory, initialize that with initial inventory level. Okay, initial inventory level. So whatever it is, it will get assigned at first. I'm going to, because of the time, I'm going to stop this section right here. We're going to continue with the next video to continue with 11.2.